everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we've got a brand new set of speaking questions from a new speaking test. So let's get started. Here's part 1. Do you usually spend your day off with your parents or friends? I'd say it's probably an equal split. This really depends on what you have planned. Although most of the time, when I want to do something, it's usually my mother that I ask first, because we enjoy a lot of things in similar, like going to the park or going to watch a movie or going shopping. So that's always a lot of fun. So yeah, most of the time it's probably my mom that I spend time with. What do you often do on your day off? So usually most of the time I'm just resting. So, I'll catch up on my sleep or I might, take part in some kind of activity that's refreshing. Maybe, for example, practicing the keyboard, my working on my piano skills, something like that. Even if I'm not, learning anything new, it's still a lot of fun. Or I might just read something. I enjoy reading as well. There's a lot of stuff. I might have, if I have the time, I might watch a movie that's been on my list, or I might, watch some TV with my mom. So that's usually what I do. When was your last day off? So that was last week, Sunday. So Saturday, Sundays, these are my days off. Of course, we've also had Christmas lately. And so, yeah, these tend to be the weekend, traditionally, that's when I have time off. And usually what I do then is so I'm learning a bunch of languages, and that's usually when I have my language lessons. So Saturday and Sunday is kind of for 9 months of the year. So for the academic year, from here it's from July to March. So July to March, my weekends are in fact spent studying and doing all these lessons. So yeah. How often do you have days off? Well, every week, of course, we have Saturday and Sunday, as I just said, but we also have a couple of other holidays. I might just, because I work for myself, so I can decide. I can decide when I want to have a day off. I usually don't just randomly do that, but in case, for example, if I feel like there's an interesting, play, or if there's something going on that I'd like to do, maybe attend, a literary fest or something like that, then I might just decide to take a day or two off. But that does not happen frequently. Maybe that happens a couple times a year. And that's, of course, apart from the usual Saturdays and Sundays. All right, let's have a look at our part 2 question. Describe an occasion when you waited for a long time for a nice thing. You should say when it happened, what the nice thing was, why you waited for a long time, and explain how you felt about the experience. So, waiting a long time for a nice thing. Now, this can be absolutely anything. Yeah, it could be a present that you received. It could even be a job that you were waiting for. So, absolutely anything that's nice. The description of nice is very, wide. It could be anything that you want it to be. Maybe I'd say, for example, and of course they give you, 1 minute of time when you can think, you can make your notes and stuff. I usually don't do that. But in this case, I might just take a little bit of time to think about what exactly I'd like to talk about. Because nowadays, I don't really wait. In fact, okay, this is how I'll begin. So I usually, now that I'm an adult, I don't really wait, to get something I want. Because I just get whatever I want. But of course, when you're a child or a teenager, you depend on your parents, of course, a lot. You don't have your own job yet. So I I was, I think, 12, maybe 13. I think I was 13 years old, and I wanted to buy an album. It was the first time in my life that I wanted to buy an album, and so I had to explain to my parents, okay, here's the album I want to buy, and you have to go to this store because back then, so this was 15 something, 15, 16, I don't know, something years ago, so a long time ago. And back then, we didn't have online shopping. It wasn't as popular as it is now. I don't think we had online shopping at all, actually. It only became popular like 10-ish years ago. So anyway, what I mean to say is, if you wanted to buy an album, especially an album in English, you had to go to a specific store, you had to travel far, all that stuff. So I wanted to buy the album. I explained it to my parents. They were like, okay, when dad travels somewhere, he'll get it. And that, of course, you know how it is. Like, they forget. And it happens much, much later than you really like it to happen. So I think I must have waited for a couple months because, first of all, the store, you have to find the store, you have to locate the store, and you have to ask them if they have the album that you want. If not, you have to go to a different store and that entire thing. Of course, nowadays, I don't think anybody can relate to that because it's such an old-fashioned thing, but back then things were like that. So, yeah, in addition to having to search around for the album that I needed and all of that, and of course you have their schedules, if they can take the time off work and so on. So it took me a couple months to get the album, but I finally did get it, and I was really excited because it was the first time in my life I'd purchased an album, and I paid for it with my own pocket money, by the way. It's just that I was like 12, 13. I couldn't travel like to some different part of the city and to just for an album, obviously. So that's why I had to wait so long. But ultimately, it worked out fine. I still have the album. It's somewhere in this room. I still have it. It's all like broken now, the glass, the plastic. I mean, but yeah, I still have it. Hey, let's go on to part three. On what occasions do people have to wait for a long time? Well, all kinds of occasions. It's, how in the past you would have to wait for a long time for a movie to come out on TV, but nowadays everything is almost immediate. If you've got a recently released movie, you don't have to wait. You can, if you don't want to go to the theater, you can just, download it. You can stream it online. Back then you'd have to wait, if you wanted to watch TV, you'd have to wait, like they would release one episode each day or each week, but now they release all the episodes right away on Netflix, and you can watch the entire thing in a couple hours. So, but yeah, some things you'd still have to wait for, like, for example, your education takes a long time. To get a bachelor's degree, you need 4 years, and masters and PhD and so on. So these kinds of learning something, it still takes a long time. And there's many people, for example, if you have a disease to fix, to cure your disease, it takes quite a while. Despite all the advancements that we have had, some things just cannot be rushed. And I find things that relate to actual progress, or things that relate to your body, like your health or your learning or your career, all these things you do have to wait for years, months or years. What are the daily experiences when people have to wait? Okay, what kind of daily things, okay, what kind of things happen in day-to-day life where people have to wait? It could be something like waiting for a bus or a train. Oh, that's not more than a couple minutes, but yeah, that's because nowadays you get everything almost immediately. You want to buy something, you go online, you order it. Of course, it depends on when it'll arrive to your doorstep, but even that is relatively quick nowadays. So waiting for other people as well, like let's say you're trying to start a meeting, but not everyone is there. Or if you're depending on someone, right? If you're waiting for a file from somebody or an email from somebody, you have to wait. If you're waiting for approval, permission, or something, again, you have to wait. So it could be related to your work, could be just related to daily things, like when you're cooking something, you put it on the stove, you're waiting for it to boil, that takes a little bit of time. Or if you're trying to braise or marinate something, that again takes time. So there are a lot of things which, despite all the advances we have had, there's still all these things that just kind of, drag life. Like, things move so slowly. If they could invent something which would like half the time, like let's say you want to marinate something, but you don't have 12 hours, or you want to defrost something, you don't have, all night for to wait. If something like that could be invented, that would be so cool. Why do most children have difficulty waiting for a long time? Well, that's just because of their brain, right? They're still developing physically, mentally as well. They haven't learned patience. Patience is something that you have to teach, right? In fact, a lot of human characteristics that we consider positive, those are taught, those are not innate. They don't come inborn. So you have to teach a child patience and all these, virtues. You have to teach them. And often they don't really understand the world, right? To them, they also don't understand things like time, object permanence, especially very young children. If something is in front of them, then it's real. If that thing is not in front of them, then it's not real. They don't understand that, okay, if, like, for example, your mom is in the room with you, you think, okay, she's here. But if she's not in the room with you, you think she's gone. You don't understand she's just in the next room or something, right? So, especially babies and really young children. So, they don't have object permanence. They don't understand that. They also don't understand time. They have no concept often of what is time until they enroll in school and they learn all these things. So the concept of waiting, why can't I have it now? Why can't I have something right now? Why do I have to wait for a few hours or days or weeks or months? Yeah, one of the reasons, of course, is time. They don't understand time. They cannot conceptualize time the way adults can, right? Because what life experience do they have? So they have to learn all these things. What can people do while waiting in a line? Well, you can do so much. You can, everybody has their phone these days. It's not like 15 years ago when you had phones, but they were not smartphones. You couldn't do much. You could text or call people and that's it. But nowadays, you can, fire up your cell phone. You can go onto Instagram. You can go onto Facebook. You can go onto YouTube. You can go onto TikTok, whatever you like. You can watch a couple videos. You can text people. You can call people. You can listen to music. That's what I usually do. Listen to music and read about stuff. Maybe you like reading the news, or maybe you like talking to people, or maybe a lot of people still carry books. I don't do that. I feel like carrying a book on public transport or when you're outside is a little bit too much for me. I would personally carry a PDF instead. But yeah, there's a lot you can do. You can even talk to people who are in the line, ahead of you or behind you. Some people do that. Not a lot of people do that. I think people of my age might actually consider it weird. Millennials and Gen Z might consider it weird to, talk to people waiting in line because we're also, invested in our cell phones all the time. So yeah, that was this set of questions. If you've got any comments, suggestions, feedback, whatever, just leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. Meanwhile, we have lots and lots of videos. So don't forget to check out the rest of our channel. There's videos for speaking, of course. There's also videos for writing. And of course, there'll be new videos coming up pretty much every alternate day or so. So yeah, check back and don't forget to click on like if you like the video. And you can share the video or the channel with other people who are also preparing for the exam. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.